Thank you, Jerome. First, I'd like to introduce Baton's core liquidity solution. In essence, this is based around a set of wallets that are used to share an underlying cash account with a Nostro bank, allowing for real-time, frictionless movements of cash. First, let me tell you what it isn't. It isn't blockchain, it isn't stablecoin, it isn't tokenization. Put simply, it's addressing old money problems with the best in new shared ledger technology. With core liquidity, asset ownership can be transferred in real time and on demand 24/7 in a legally enforceable way. In essence, it delivers programmable money onto existing rails. For large financial institutions, internal fund transfers make up a huge proportion of total movements. Within these organizations, each entity will generally maintain its own nostro in each currency. But transfers between entities are often time-consuming, hard to synchronize, and expensive. It's challenging to maintain and track liquidity, and firms often find themselves crossing large spreads on interest payments and charges, when at an overall level, they're sufficiently funded to avoid this. It works like this. We deploy our shared permissioned ledger and smart workflows at the bank where you hold your Nostro accounts. The workflows can be used to optimize the netting and sequencing of internal cash movements to match your binding constraints, while the Baton ledger reflects the allocation of asset ownership across a range of sub-accounts or wallets. Changes of ownership are then driven through the Baton workflows according to the configuration and instructions that you determine. They're completely flexible and enforced by a robust rulebook, ensuring irreversibility and enabling you to achieve settlement finality. What does this mean? Well, first of all, it means huge improvements in the use of liquidity at the firm level, reflected through lower funding and capital costs. It means that you have real-time reporting and control over the movement of funds between your affiliates. It allows you to reduce the operational and third-party costs associated with internal cash transfers, and you can systematically deploy a new set of payment functions that simply wouldn't be possible with your existing technology. Let's have a look at the product. Here we have 3 affiliated entities that are holding cash in 4 different currency-specific accounts. The ownership of these assets is reflected in the digital wallets held by each of these entities on the Baton ledger. The whole process is governed by a rulebook to provide legal certainty. At the top of the screen, we can view the wallet balance for each participant in the shared account. Each participant is generally a separate node on the Baton shared permissioned ledger, which ensures data confidentiality and control. In the lower portion of the screen, we have a detailed view of each individual ledger entry with an exact timestamp of each ownership change and a reflection of the opening and closing balance of the wallets in question. Let's now imagine that Party A needs to pay 25 million euros to Party B. Before we do this, take a note of the current euro balances at the omnibus level and for each of the 2 parties. You can now see that the balances for the 2 parties have changed immediately and simultaneously, although the overall balance in the shared Nostro has not. You can also see in the transaction summary the full details of the transaction with a timestamp that is consistent for both of the participating entities. Here we can see a representation of the wallet structure within each shared Nostro account, with one-way transfers and PVP settlements being activated and registered in real time. Other payment processes like automated payment on payment and automated split payments can be configured as required. Each of the participating entities can fund or defund the shared Nostros to meet their own obligations as they see fit. A funding transaction will be initiated using conventional payment rails before passing through into the digital layer as the assets are represented within the wallets in the Baton ledger. These instructions can be generated using Baton's configurable smart workflows based on a complete and real-time view of outstanding obligations and available funds across multiple locations. Jerome, I'd like to ask you a question here. During your own banking career, you will have faced firsthand some of the challenges of managing liquidity and having liquidity managed for you across a number of different legal entities, liquidity and size. Can I ask you, what observations do you have from your own experience, or perhaps what are you hearing from the people that we're speaking with on this subject?
There are numerous ways to reply to you, Alex, but I think I'd sum it up like this. the inability to quickly understand outstanding obligations in real time and to frictionlessly move assets around to optimize the sequencing of inflows and outflows is a source of massive cost to most businesses.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Jerome, thank you for that. If there's one thing you'd like the audience to take away from this, what would it be?
This impacts nearly all of the larger banks. So if I would say anything, it would be don't wait. This is a real solution that can revolutionize your liquidity management and deliver some of the huge benefits in economics that distributed ledger technology has promised for years. Now.
Absolutely, Jerome. Thank you for that.